What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Birds of the Round Table, the Reese and Niece edition. Of course, Shane, unfortunately, is not with us tonight. He'll be back next week, I believe. And we actually have some kind of exciting stuff coming up from, draft coverage, which will be starting in a few weeks. So stay tuned for that. But tonight, we have a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about free agents. We're going to talk a little bit about OC stuff. Joining me, as always, my good buddy, David. What's going on, pal? How are you?
Good, man. And also, we might welcome an old familiar face on the podcast coming up. I don't want to
Potentially, yeah.
reveal anything, but
No, but we have our own version of Mel Kiper,
yeah.
uh, taking him out of the cryogenic freeze. But yeah, we'll be kind of bringing you a full gamut of coverages, from player profiles to quick shows that are centered around draft, mock drafts, quick little YouTube shorts, couple minute profiles, stuff like that.
Senior Bowl breakdowns next week. Senior Bowl, all freaking ready, dude.
I know it certainly is. It came quick.
A day after the championship game. Super Bowl's not even here. We're already watching prospects for next season. And people
Absolutely.
wonder why the Eagles are so far behind in the process these years, like in coaching and everything. Look how much crap's gone on since they've lost that wild card game.
Yeah,
It's been
a lot.
unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, the NFL really should probably put a stop to it until everybody's on the same page. But I guess it comes down to they're never feeling sorry for people who are in the, last
Right.
levels of the playoffs. So
You were in the Super Bowl.
yeah, so I guess that's their reason. That's their parody. That's how they're going to make it happen. So,
I would assume so, and honestly, that's probably for the best.
but God,
But
we
as I
really have to
said,
cram in a lot of work.
yeah, they absolutely do, and you
Yeah,
can
it's
see
really, really
why.
tough.
Yeah, see why having an extra or one less month and a half can really set you back. But
Selfishly,
um,
I'd have liked a week or two off. It's just this is a lot.
yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, so time for chalk talk. What? No chalk talk. Wasn't that
Nope.
earlier today? Didn't Shane and do that?
What chalk are they talking? The divisional round?
Yeah, I assume. Yeah, I would assume, right? Absolutely. Reese and Niece, gotta love it. No pain, no shame. Yeah, I like that. I think I might know who the guest is. I think you might too. Also, quick question. Will chair scouts make a return, or will that be blended into? Yeah, it'll kind of be blended. I think what we're going to be doing is Birds of the Round Table will be taking a very Eagles focused, view of the draft and prospects, whereas Mark and Shane will probably take more of an NFL focus. But we will be getting all of us together, prior to the draft to kind of discuss things. So we'll have kind of, we're working on trying to organize all of that as well. And then, of course, what we did the last couple of years live for the draft, which is absolutely my favorite. It was too much fun. But yeah, stay tuned. Draft coverage is going to punch you right in the face real soon. But tonight on Birds of the Round Table, we will be talking about Eagles free agent. There are actually 20 of them right now, which seems like a lot. But when we go over them, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, forgot about that guy. So we'll just kind of start randomly. We're going to do a little bit of a stay or go. We'll discuss perhaps the reasoning why we would prefer one way or the other. And then we'll kind of move forward here. And we will also be talking in a little OC talk at the end, just to kind of update on the goings on, who's interviewing, who might be interviewing, who's rumored to be interviewing, and where the heck they might end up going with it. So
They wouldn't give
all
me
right,
full autonomy, so I already turned them down.
yeah.
Spoiler
So
alert for the end.
yeah, right. All right, let's get started here with our first name up. I will say Dallas Goddard. David,
God, you're going for the throat right away. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, we can't start with, the I don't know, the Calcaterras of the world, but here we are. Yeah. Let's start with a big name. Dallas Goddard, staying or going?
Yeah, Ryan and I did no pregame prep here, so I have no idea what his stance are on any of these guys. But I actually have Dallas Goddard as going. He had his most productive season scoring, obviously, and due to that, he likely priced himself out of a 1 year, $10 million deal. In my opinion, the Eagles have had two off seasons to extend him or re-sign him. They didn't. I would be surprised to see them pivot now at his age. Is there a pathway for him to come back? Sure, if he wants to run it back on a 1 or 2 year deal. But if he's looking to cash in on this 11 touchdown season and get a 3, 4 year contract out of it, I don't think it'll be in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean that's essentially the same thing. I personally would love to see if we couldn't get him back at least on a 1 or 2 year deal because I feel like we're going to have to add early and often, perhaps in the draft. David, I know you just came out with a mock. You had the Eagles grabbing two tight ends in their your mock, so it would go to show. Obviously, we're going to be talking about a couple other tight ends here. They don't have any tight ends right now, none. So that's I feel like the one major reason why I want Dallas Goddard to stay, even if it's a 1 year. Let's do the transition. Let's do the handoff right and let's get somebody in here early in the draft and go from there. But ultimately, I think, Dallas Goedert will not be a Philadelphia Eagle come 2026. So, all right, might as well stay with the tight ends, so we don't want to, shoot the big guys down early. Let's go with, as a name I said earlier, Grant Calcaterra. What do we think?
Yeah, the Eagles need a tight end who can block. And that's no disrespect to Grant. He never improved in that area. It isn't his fault. It isn't his game. It wasn't what he was doing in college. The lack of growth and lack of special team impact just makes it a necessary move to raise the floor in the tight end room. I mean, they need better options at like you mentioned, that room is barren. It's dusty. They need some new blood, whether it be a free agent or, two draft picks like we alluded to a minute ago, like you did. I think it's an area that they unquestionably need to address.
Yeah, no, I agree. Absolutely see ya. Um, for the fact that, you can make, now don't get me wrong, Calcaterra can make a crazy catch every once in a while. But his lack of blocking as a backup, is, really kind of hindered them in what they wanted to do with their, 12 personnel. Brett Eclipse chiming in, here about Goddard. He has to say if he can be afforded, he was their best weapon in the red zone and turned out the only good part about the Eagles offense. Agreed. But I think because he was so good, as David said, he probably priced himself out of getting pumped back. See you, Grant. Grant Calcaterra should have been cut from this team 3 months ago if the team was going to insist on forcing him into blocking situations. Yeah, well, kind of is what it is. So yeah, I'll agree. Got to go. And then finally, man,
Kylan,
Kyle Granson. I think
this
I don't
this
think.
might be where we differ because they have absolutely nothing. I think he stays.
Wow.
He he does nothing offensively, but he does bring special teams value. And I think his
Well,
cost is a pretty logical decision to keep him in a room that is just so empty and devoid of talent. I mean, he will be the floor. I mean, he's going to be 3, 4, whatever it is,
right,
a
right.
weekly guy who they elevate, whatever. But I think due to special teams and cost and the fact that they just can't probably find 4 new tight ends that you might as well keep one. So,
Yeah, listen, that's probably the best way I've ever heard of trying to keep somebody you're like, not really talented, but you're probably not wrong. I just think they're gonna go the route of grabbing two in the draft, grabbing, again, a free agent, obviously, if they're not gonna be grabbing, Goddard. There's some other names that could, again, if they're going to draft, say, a Sadiq or somebody early in the first 2 rounds, Njoku is out there, Kyle Pitts. You have who else? Tyler Higbee. Yeah, these are guys, Noah Fant, guys that have been there, done that, so it's certainly a possibility, but I want him gone, you know? I just want if we're not
Clean
going
sweep.
that Goddard, I want a clean sweep. I want fresh blood all the way through. So, but yeah. So those are your tight ends. Let's stay on the offensive side of the
Those were
ball. Uh, yeah,
those
I those were your tight ends. Yeah, you're very right. Let's go with speaking of receivers, we do have one free agent wide receiver, and that is Jahan Dotson. The Eagles spent a third rounder to get him. And well, I mean, he's the third wide receiver. He didn't really get much many targets throughout, but he definitely stepped up when he needed to in certain situations and during the Super Bowl. But I personally do not see them bringing him back. Um, I don't know. I just think maybe the fit wasn't always the greatest, and again, I think they have other issues to worry about. Than re-signing and giving decent money to a wide receiver three.
yeah. I mean the third wide receiver on the Philadelphia Eagles offense is like the fifth or sixth option. The fit and the usage just never came to fruition. Again, I agree with you. I wouldn't say it was a bad trade as it did provide insurance.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, the games that AJ or Devontae were out, he really didn't, you know, do a whole lot for whatever reason. But it did provide insurance, and I do think his route running and things were pretty good.
yeah,
I sometimes wonder if it's not an indictment of the wide receiver coach a little bit. I mean, there's literally nobody hardly who wasn't already an elite talent that's been elevated. But again, I think the writing was on the wall when they didn't initiate that fifth year option. He's gone,
yeah. No,
and he'll get paid. And the Eagles aren't doing that.
oh, somebody will definitely add him to the roster. But yeah, I think this. I wouldn't be surprised once the Eagles actually make a decision on the OC that the wide receiver coach, Aaron Moorhead, is out of here. But that'll be, I guess, a different show, right? All right, so let's see. We have a few running backs. AJ Dillon. Listen, I think we all had, high expectations, hopeful expectations. AJ Dillon being a name that just, was always behind somebody in Green Bay and then had to, deal with the injury. And, early on, he looked like he was going to be somebody that was going to be able to contribute, but he just kind of fell out of favor and just he kind of faded into the background and eventually he wasn't really on the roster. So I don't see him bringing, why you would even think about bringing him back, especially considering you have Tank Bigsby, who's clearly, the mark as the second running back.
Yeah, when Ryan and I were at practice in August watching the Eagles, AJ Dillon came right by us, and we were both excited, happy. The guy looked to be in good shape. His what is his nickname? Like Quadzilla or something? Whatever the
Yeah,
hell his
right. Yeah,
nickname.
and it showed.
And, that's kind of funny when you talk about it or you see it on TV, but when you watch him next to other athletes who are in the best shape of their life and he's like 3 of them, it's pretty mind-boggling to see.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
agreed.
unbelievable, but, he rarely got any carries after ending a game with the fumble that they lost earlier in the season. He was never trusted again, and I agree with you, there's no reason to bring him back.
So, all right. So we agree there. This one, now, again, this one might be a little controversial. Ben Van Summeren. What do you say about him bringing him back?
Yeah, I think his injuries eliminated any chance he had of making a difference on the field as a fullback. And unfortunately, time may have taken away his chance to be able to show it in the future in Philadelphia, as the team has already started looking at other options like Carson Steele and they started using Latu. And I would not be surprised to see the Eagles offer him a small kind of deal, just see what he looks like in camp, see if he can stay healthy, but it would be long odds for him to be on the 53 roster in September in my mind.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of what I was expecting too. Is yeah, bring him back into camp, see if he's got any of that potential that we were so hoping to see out on the field. Obviously, the injury just kind of derailed that, and you hope that the, rehab's been going well. We have literally heard nothing about him. It's as
Right.
almost as if he never existed. But yeah, I would certainly see what he might have, but I'm kind of with you there. I don't see it really working out as far as him being on the 53. Fred Eclipse were 5 free agents in, and the only guy we said was key was Kylan Granson, and that was only David.
Yeah, that it's a low bar thus far. Yeah, it
I
gets
mean,
better. It gets better.
it does get better. It does get better.
Not
Alright,
immediately if we're going to finish off the offense. It's not getting better fast, but
no, not yet, not yet. We will stick with the offensive line. Um, we'll stay with the offense here. So we'll start with a couple of the backups. Matt Pryor, what do you think?
the Eagles drafted and signed a plethora of young linemen. I think it's time to see what they offer and give Stoutland you a chance to develop them and say goodbye to Mr. Matt Pryor.
Couldn't agree more. Absolutely. Next up, Brett Toth, who I would see if you could try and keep. I thought he was pretty important,
Agreed.
especially with the injuries and who the injured are. He's able to play guard, he's able to play center, and I think we've seen it. You give the man the full week to get ready to be in there, he does his job. So,
Yeah. Stoutland has always seen his worth, and last year he seemingly harnessed it. I mean, he had that rough one game where he hadn't practiced and
right,
in a year at the position. But once
basically,
you
yeah.
gave him a week of practice, man, he was pretty good. He was a valuable contributor at multiple spots on the OL. And I think he should be given the chance to compete for, the roster spot and prove it with another successful camp because I believe in his ability. I mean, this is a guy who was undrafted, who just busts his rear end to stay on this team. I really like him. In fact, he's probably one of my favorite players on the team on a personal level. I really like the guy. So selfishly, I'd like to see him stick around too. He's a good dude, and I think he's a hard worker. And like Ryan alluded to, he was a valuable piece this season when they had a lot of injuries. And he was a loss in that playoff game, quite frankly.
Yeah, honestly, it could have certainly, you know, begged the question of if he was healthy, did you make the switch? All right, another backup, another important backup, Fred Johnson. This has to be a keep, right?
Yeah, I mean, with Lane Johnson's clock ticking, the injuries piling up on the guy, keeping a competent, trusted swing tackle is just basic roster competency in my mind. The Eagles learned what life without Fred was by August, and they quickly found a way to get him back on the team.
They really did. They were like,
Yeah,
"Ooh,
there's no need to make that mistake twice. So
no,
now,
no."
Brett Eclipse, we have 3 keepers, baby. We're rolling.
We are rolling. Speaking of Brad, Toth was better than Jurgens this year. Yeah, maybe the Pro Bowl should have went to him.
Aside from the concussion, he was a hell of a lot healthier.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And our final offensive player is a quarterback that never saw the field, Sam Howell. I assume we will be saying goodbye to Sam Howell unless there's something about him that they would love to keep. But I would assume Sam Howell's probably going to want to go out and compete for a backup job or whatnot. So I
I can't
assume that
believe Yeah, I can't believe you're making me do this with Kylan Granson and Sam Howell, but he's young, experienced, and cheap. And if the Eagles can sign him close to the vet minimum, I mean, why not? His opportunity
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you. I think the biggest detractor here is him wanting to go somewhere to compete.
compete more.
Right.
I think you could maybe sell him on the fact that
Hey,
Sam could be a
we'll trade Tanner.
right. Well, I mean, if they're going to do it, this is when it's happening. If they're going to get the asset for him, it's now. And
Yeah.
Sam at that point would be elevated to backup, and then the Eagles would draft, a late round projected quarterback or get DTR again or whoever
Yeah,
they want,
right. Yeah,
whoever
right.
they want to sign.
So
But
yes,
I do
yes, a
think,
late round quarterback.
yes,
Yeah.
whatever, yeah, yeah, I didn't put that in. I didn't even have a quarterback in my mind. But his opportunities will likely dictate the outcome of his return, like you said. But the fact that he never saw the field didn't do him any favors. So he might just want the, consistency that the Philadelphia could provide him with, especially if the outlook is Tanner is going to be gone and he's QB2. Because then
Yeah,
you're one play from operating one of the best offensive players in the league.
Absolutely.
No
Yeah, that
better way to raise your value. Look what it did for Tanner. I mean,
right. Yeah, that's absolutely, a good point. It'll all depend on how they handle Tanner. Marina checks in, Toth and Johnson get re-signed, and then Howell stays as QB2. It's certainly, potential. Like I said, it really does depend on how they handle moving forward, Tanner McKee, if we're gonna trade him or perhaps they, you know, just find him too valuable and
I
just
mean,
want
just a spitball. If somebody offers you a fourth for Tanner in his final year, are you taking it?
I mean, you'd have to, right?
I don't know. I mean, there's no team that values backup quarterbacks more than the Eagles.
That is also true, so
So I don't know what the cost would be. A 3, he's gone.
3
I
has
mean,
to, has to,
yeah. 4, I
because
don't know.
yeah,
I think that's the
4th, I feel
territory.
like I would, but
Yeah, I think that's the territory that you flip a coin there.
I think the fact of the matter is you have somebody like Sam Howell who
Exactly.
can be a very good backup, has starter experience, can jump right into the QB2 spot. I think that makes that 4th a little bit, easier to say yes to, so
Yeah.
alright, that's your offense. Now, let's move on to the defense. We'll stay with the defensive line for now. And probably one of the biggest question marks, somebody who came in midway through, had a big impact, somebody I really hope they re-sign, Jalen Phillips. What do you think?
Yeah, the sack totals didn't pop, but the pressures in the run defense improved a lot. Fangio's obvious trust in him makes Phillips a priority to try to keep, in my opinion. It was obvious he loved being here. He did have one caveat on the day he was leaving the locker where he said, I got to take care of my family, i.e., that means I'm going to ask for a lot of money. So if the Eagles want to retain that talent, they're going to have to pay for it. But at the season ending presser, Howie Roseman said, we're in the business of collecting talent. Well, you have one in the building now. Fangio obviously wants him, obviously knows how to get the best out of him. He's did it again this season. I don't see any reason they'd let the guy go. It also gives you a little leverage if Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, etc., are going to be problematic to re-sign a year or two down the road for extensions. Yeah, I think he's a keeper.
Yeah, I think it solves, a big question they had coming into this year. You have him with Nolan, with Hunt. I think that's a great 3 right there. Sprinkle in whoever you need to, whether, we're gonna be talking about some other people here in a second or not. I think that would be huge. I think him coming in really did, to a very, very lesser degree, kind of had the Cooper DeJean effect. He came in, that defense just kind of woken, and they were great, for the rest of the season, pretty much. So that he definitely had a big part of that. So I would absolutely love to keep him. Moving on to another edge, Josh Uche.
Yeah. Once everyone in the edge room got healthy and the Birds re-signed BG, his role and impact was totally erased. I enjoyed watching him when he was in there at the beginning of the year, seeing the intrigue, but there's just not a role for him in Philadelphia.
Yeah, no, I agree. I kind of yeah, I was hopeful for him. And like you said, the way things shook out, just yeah, again, didn't really seem to get much playing time. So there's no need to kind of to re-sign, rather go somebody younger and do that way. So um, here we go. No GM is stupid enough to give a 3rd round pick for a backup quarterback. Well, perhaps many quarterbacks don't see him, or many GMs might not see him as an official backup. It could
Yeah.
be somebody
AJ
that,
Feely got a second. He was a backup.
yeah,
Nick Foles got a second. He was a backup.
that certainly has
So,
happened before with the Eagles.
yes. Yeah, I'm specifically just talking about what the Eagles have been able to get. They
Right.
got a first for Carson Wentz. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I
So,
kindly disagree. But
yeah. All right. Another edge newly added, Aziz Ojulari.
yeah,
This is a guy, again, I think I had a lot higher hopes for than Uche when he came in. Dealt with some injuries, never really found his footing early. There was a pocket there in the middle where, he finally got out on the field, but he, again, didn't, kind of once the Jalen Phillips effect kind of happened. It didn't really seem like there was a spot for him. I assume, that the same would be true for him. Although I wouldn't necessarily hate it if you signed him for kind of a vet minimum and, see how camp plays out. But more than likely he'll be gone.
Yeah, I have him as gone. The upside was real. I think it was a great gamble to try. I mean, the whole Philly dog connection, all that stuff, but it just never materialized into production. And I think they need to draft an edge guy. I mean, especially if you're going to keep Jalen Phillips, you're going to have a pretty, high floor room there with Jalix, Nolan, and Jalen Phillips there. I really like that room, and I would want somebody young who can kind of learn and grow and mature with those guys. I kind of like that aspect better than trying to get another retread. I mean, they've tried this Uche Aziz like
Right.
retread thing long enough. They got a nice stable of guys now. Let's keep that rolling again.
Yeah, no, agreed, agreed. Um,
And there's
all
one
right.
more,
There's one more edge, theoretically, yes. Kronkero.
Ogbo.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
I assume, he didn't, see the field much, if at all. I think this is just a guy that, that again, they kinda took a shot on and was hoping that, they could squeeze some juice out of him. It just didn't really work out.
yeah. Much like Kylan Granson and Sam Howell. No, I'm kidding. I did not keep him on here.
Oh, wow.
Injuries, age, and opportunity all worked against Ogbo, and it's time to say goodbye.
Absolutely, and then our final person on the defensive line, Brandon Graham, theoretically is a free agent. This obviously all comes down to BG and what he wants to do. I think if, you know, regardless of whatever happens, if the man says he wants to play another year, he's playing another year in Midnight Green, so
I agree with you. If you're getting more expensive on defense, which is what Howie discussed, having an affordable leader who knows exactly how to play his role is the perfect solution. And luckily, the Eagles have that with BG. His body held up well, and after the loss, he seemed motivated to come back. He was very optimistic about returning another year. He likes playing defensive tackle at this point. He's done great at it. You could do a lot worse as your DT4 or edge 4 or 5 than Brandon Graham. And if he wants to come back, he's not going to play anywhere else. It'll be in Philly if he's coming. And again, he's going to come affordably, and I think that's a perfect solution.
absolutely, absolutely. All up to BG at this point. Brett Eclipse chimes in. Geez, you must really hate McKee. We finished talking about Sam Howell like 10 minutes ago. Marina, no one thinks McKee is a starter. Disagree. I think there's somebody out there that probably does.
They were offered draft picks for him this year.
Yeah. I think BG returns. He can't let it go. Yeah, I mean you're probably not wrong on that one. All right, let's pop back to the linebackers, or I should say linebacker. This one's going to be the toughest one for me, and that's Nakobe Dean. This is a guy that since day one, I rooted for, begging them to draft. They actually did. He slipped, fell to the third round because of some injury concerns. Obviously, has certainly had his share of injuries for sure, but has battled back through them. Has shown to be a great run defending linebacker. And this one's tough because you just spent a first rounder on a linebacker. The cards will tell you most likely Nakobe Dean is gone.
Yeah. After an admirable comeback that changed how the Eagles defended the run, quite frankly, he managed to stay healthy the rest of the season. Injuries are likely something that everyone's going to worry about going forward with Dean. And honestly, that might be the very reason he is back. If he does not have a large market awaiting him in free agency, the Birds would love to have him back. He is, without question, he is the undisputed leader of the Philly Dogs.
Yeah,
All of
definitely.
them look up to him. I mean, I can't stress enough how much Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith look up to this guy. I mean, he is his leadership is very hard to quantify. And honestly, I kind of think Jahad Campbell plays a lot different role than Dean did. I mean, you saw how different the defense functioned. Campbell seems more like he could do the Zach Bond role in a year, and Zach Bond could easily not be here in a year. They can easily go away from him after 2026 season. Um, Again, if he's offered 3-year deal or something, he's gone. But if you can get him on a 2-year, $14 million deal with 8, 9, 10 million guaranteed, I don't see why you don't do it. I mean, he's more valuable than a lot of people realize just watching him play on the field. He's the glue that keeps all of those guys from Georgia together.
Yeah. No, believe me, Brad says it quite nicely. I love Nakobe. I will root for him wherever he goes, but it would be a total waste of a draft pick on Campbell to re-sign Nakobe. Potentially, as David kind of said, potentially for a year, but they seem to, be able to kind of get them, into a little bit of a groove there towards the end.
You'll know how much they believe in Jihad's development by this
Yeah.
decision as well.
Yeah, well, that's certainly. But you're right. I mean,
They care more
Bond.
about the development than that draft pick. I'll just leave it at that. The first round pick's already been spent. That would be like saying we're going to keep Jalen Rager because we spent a first round pick on him and we're not going to play,
Right,
Devontae Smith or something. That's not how this works.
right.
If they don't believe in his development, that a lot will be understood with how they play their hand with Dean.
Yeah, I agree. Marina checks in. BG, like this year, would give depth at DT. Yeah, I mean, certainly you can play everywhere. And that's not cool. At 5'9", nobody looks up to Dean. How tall are you? How tall are you? That's what I'd like to know. If you're not over 5'9", you can't say stuff like that. And then Brett,
N'Kobe Dean is not 5'9", by the way.
no, he's also not 5'9", right?
He's
I think
almost 6 foot
re-signing
tall.
Dean, yeah, would be damaging to Jihad's development going forward, considering how Fangio chooses to utilize the two. Yeah, I mean, again, there's a lot to consider. All right.
Fangio's opinion holds the weight. I mean, if he believes in the development, you'll know how they feel about him.
Yeah, and Fangio is one to just just spout it out and spit it out. He'll say whatever. So certainly he doesn't care. Anyway. All right, that is your linebacker. And now let's move back to the secondary. And yeah, anyway, now Kobe Dean's 5'11". 6'1". All right. You can say that then, I guess, officially. But still. Anyway. All right. Corners. Dory Jackson, the most hated man for the first couple of weeks, and then figured it out. Got himself into a nice groove, really solidified the CB2 position. Yeah, honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that I have high hopes that they will address CB2 in the draft, I would definitely bring him back.
Yeah, after a rough start, like you mentioned, he finished the season playing very well. He unquestionably solidified himself as a legit CB2. Anybody who watched the last game of the season with Jacorian Bennett and Keely Ringo as the corners, that'll tell you everything you need to know about the depth chart in Philadelphia and the fact that you never want to see them playing in a regular season game again.
Agreed.
Unfortunately, he may have increased his market in free agency, and the Eagles just simply can't pay everyone. I agree with you. It's time to draft another corner. I took Jamad McCoy first overall in my mock. I think that they will address corner high. And if Adoree came back, it'd have to be on some sort of team-friendly deal. And after the playoff loss, he's one of the guys I was able to speak to in the locker room after the game. And he wasn't talking about the loss. He was talking about how he stacked games this season, what brought him to the team, how well he thought he evolved over the season. And to me, that seems like someone looking for compensation. So I'd be a little surprised. This just has Isaiah Rodgers vibes to it all for me. Like somebody's going to give a 215 or some of the Eagles just aren't going to do it.
Yeah, yeah, I could easily see that as well. But like I said, I feel like now is certainly the time. Try to go young, try to grab somebody draft wise, and you essentially have 3 young corners for however long you can keep them.
And look at the development. I mean, I know Christian Parker could be on his way out as DC somewhere, but
True.
they have developed these
Yeah,
cornerbacks. Just, I mean, it's a man. I
nice,
know that
very
they're
nice.
talented guys too. Make no
Sure.
mistake. but it shows if you get a good athlete in the building, it doesn't always work that way.
Yeah. Yeah,
This
there's gotta
guy
be a
has done
right
amazing.
yeah, the right combination of player talent, ability, mindset, and coaching, that goes into these, developed players here. Alright, let's see. Do we have any other corners? No, we do not. We have a safety, couple safeties. Let's start with the worst one, Marcus Epps.
The worst. When injuries depleted the Eagles at the safety position, Epps came in and stabilized it, quite frankly. If Reed isn't back, Epps should be. So if they're not going to pay Reed, you pay Epps because he definitely will come at the price point that you want. And I think he showed enough to be, your safety three. You're banking on Makuba coming back healthy, and whoever else they pick up via draft or free agency.
Yeah. Yeah, again, as for a vet, easy decision to grab him, and to keep, for sure, so alright, then the, final name on our list, I think we covered no, sorry,
Special
second to last.
teams.
Second yeah, forgot about special teams. But our last defensive starter, that's, Mr. Reed Blankenship, one of the exciting whites. His relationship with Coop certainly, all over, social media, but, truly in the locker room, I thought,
Support for Fans First Sports Network comes from Big Fork Brands, bringing bold bacon sausage, paleo pork jerky, and Chicago style sauces to your table. Enjoy rich, smoky flavors made with sustainable ingredients and chef crafted care. Big Fork uses 100% heritage hogs raised outdoors without antibiotics and has been featured by Food and Wine, the Chicago Tribune, and QVC for their bold flavors. Listeners visit bigforkbrands.com and receive 20% off at checkout using promo code FFSN. Bigforkbrands.com, promo code FFSN. Thank you for your support of this show.
paid dividends in Coop's development and just kind of, the vibe on the team. I thought they have a, really great friendship, and that does translate, but I just feel like they go a different direction here. I could easily see them bringing him back, but something's telling me that, yeah, they're just gonna, try to cover that other safety position with Makuba and, grab somebody to kind of, take over.
Yeah, it's a great story. He's a leader, a player who defied the odds by becoming the starter as a UDFA for the Eagles. But money and market likely will end his tenure here. I hate to be the one breaking up the exciting mics, but
Yeah,
they can do their podcast together remotely, like Brian and I are
absolutely.
doing this show.
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
it's very easy to do.
Pretty well, we'll tell them how to set it up.
Yeah, but yeah, I think they go in another direction. I mean, I really like the guy, and if you saw my conversation with Cooper DeJean after the game, and I asked about the likelihood of them staying together, and he used words like "he'll always be my brother."
Right.
It
Yeah.
didn't sound like somebody who was forward thinking they were going to be together very much longer.
Yeah, no, I paid attention to that as well. Brandon Russell checking in. As long as it doesn't make Sidney Brown closer to to playing.
Yeah, he's
There
not
was
even
a
a free
comment
agent, and he's
earlier.
likely not on the team next year.
Yeah, God willing. There was a comment earlier that, perhaps Sidney Brown should be the fullback. Just bam!
I
That
mean,
was
they should give it a try. His brother's very successful running back.
yeah.
Let him just go be a battering ball. Just go run to his heart's content.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, that's your defense and final player, free agent for the Eagles is Braden Mann, punter. I think this is an easy keep. Dude was just has the booming leg. Punters certainly don't cost that much money. But
Yeah,
I'd sign him in a heartbeat.
it's a no brainer for me. He's an elite field flipping punter. And when you have an offense that goes three and out 65% of the time, he's your most valuable player. So he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Absolutely. We got another keep Braden Mann. Yeah, he seems to be a pretty popular choice for punter. There you
So I
have it.
had 11 goes and 9 stays,
Yeah.
including Brett Eclipse favorite Kylan Branson and Sam Howell.
Yeah, believe me. I think I'd probably add even less. I don't know. But there are your 20 free agents for the Philadelphia Eagles. Stay or go. Free agency starts in about a month and a half. So we'll see kind of how things play out. But it'll certainly be interesting how he has a lot of choices and decisions to make. Before we go, and before we actually get into the OC talk, breaking news looks like our good buddy Mike McDaniels is going to be the Chargers' new OC. All but signed on the dotted line. Reports are coming out that they are expecting him to be the next Chargers OC. So there's one less person to talk about for the Eagles OC. All right, let's get into first who they have interviewed so far. David, out of the people they've talked to, anybody kind of, pique your interest? Is there one that, maybe your favorite or whatever, anything?
What are the names? Jim Bob Cooter,
Yeah, Jim Bob Cooter. I
Zach
think
Robinson,
yep, they are,
Brian Daboll. Is that official?
I believe Dayball is happening either tomorrow or,
Yeah.
uh,
If the Eagles are not revamping their offense, and if you believe what Nick Sirianni said at the season-ending presser, where he said he thinks his offense can evolve, he doesn't need to revamp it, then I think a candidate like Brian Daboll is probably one of the guys who they covet the most.
that was
Jalen
today, by
Hurts.
the way, sorry.
Okay. Jalen Hurts has spoken very highly of him. He's called him a father figure. He credited him with his development as a quarterback and his mechanics, reading the field, etc. Um, Buffalo Bills opening could throw a wrench into that because he actually could get an HC job at this point. Might
Sure.
not have to settle for an OC job, but I do think he's one of the guys at, high on their totem pole, so to speak. It's not the
Yeah,
direction I would go. I would actually go for a guy like that Buffalo just had, Joe Brady. I think he's a little more innovative. I also like Charlie Weiss Jr.
yeah, LSU.
I liked Mike McDaniel as a candidate. Granted, he would have been vastly different
Yeah,
on the
very different.
offense, but I kind of think that's what you need. In
Yeah,
short, in order for Nick Sirianni's offense to work, the athletes have to win their battles every single time. The team has to stay almost perfectly healthy like they did in 2024. I mean, when the Eagles won that Super Bowl last year, they basically had no injuries, and they had a star running back who had one of the 10 best seasons in the history of the NFL. There was a lot that had to go perfect for that offense to work. And when you have any shortcomings like we did this season with, an O-line that, you can't rely on, it's no longer a cheat code just to give Saquon the ball over and over and over, and he's going to get 60, 70-yard touchdown run. What we witnessed in 2024 was, very rare. And I think that's more of an aberration than the likelihood that that's going to be the success going forward. And this is a team that was 11-6 because of talent. And I think they squandered an opportunity because they never learned how to harness it properly. And I don't know that the way the offense is set up here, that's going to allow that. I mean, I know people get angry with like AJ being frustrated, not getting the ball and this and that. Well, looks like everything he said early in the season proved to be true. Like, we're winning right now, but this isn't working. And nobody wanted to hear it. But, they have a far more insight than the average Joe when you're talking about these types of things. So I would have gone for a radical change at OC. I do know that part of the reason McDaniel and others might not want the job is because of the autonomy. And even when the Eagles will say, oh, we can maybe give you full autonomy, it's not completely the truth because they would lost out on another candidate a few years ago because they wouldn't part with Jeff Stoutland. And you don't have full autonomy of the offense if you have a run game coordinator that's not your choosing. And if you have run concepts that's not your choosing. So you still have to work into the framework of what the Eagles have there. And if you're Mike McDaniel or whoever, they also have asked, names aside, are the Eagles married to Jalen Hurts? Because maybe there's a coordinator like Mike McDaniel who don't believe he can run his offense. Can you get out of his contract in a year? Can I get my quarterback in this system? And there's so many things like that that go into it. Not saying Mike McDaniel felt that way. I'm just saying his offense, maybe he didn't feel it was a fit in Philadelphia. And I think you have a lot of issues like that that are going on with this. People just think it's one position, but it's not. They bring in their own QB coach, their own OC coach, their own O-line coach. If you're going to have full autonomy, they're going to want to change everything. And I'm not certain that the Eagles really want to do that.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. Just to update you, I know I just said Dayball interviewed formally today. Yesterday, Monday was Bucks OC, former OC Josh Grizzard.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned Jim Bob Cooter. Mike Kafka also interviewed along with Falcons OC Zach Robinson. Yeah, obviously there was
I
the rumor
think
about.
Kafka was a Rooney Rule interview, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah. The Eagles have officially requested an interview with Dolphins passing game coordinator Bobby Slowick. Let's see.
Who they interviewed 4 years ago for the position
They,
as well.
they did. And then, yeah, there is interest in Charlie Weiss Jr. Let's see.
Him and Brady are my favorite candidates that are left.
Brady. Yeah. Yeah, I like both. I could definitely see them going for
I mean,
I mean, Brady certainly has been in the NFL for a couple of years, but again, he's most known for
even
his.
Cliff Kingsbury is a guy that I'm a little surprised you've heard nothing about. Not that I'd want
Hey.
him here, but I am surprised you've heard nothing about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he, what I think is attractive about him is his track record on quarterback development.
Exactly.
So, for all those who are Jalen Hurts haters, him coming in here and kind of reworking Hurts, so to speak, and could be a great thing. But
I mean, Jaden
um,
Daniels had the best rookie season by a quarterback probably in the history of the NFL. I mean,
probably, yeah.
it's pretty insane, and that didn't happen by accident. That progress and production, that's not accidental, man.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of who else. David Shaw, the Lions passing game coordinator.
I like Shaw.
Davis Webb, offensive pass game coordinator, quarterbacks coach for the Broncos. Yeah, the Rams quarter passing game coordinator, Patriots passing game coordinator Thomas Brown. I can't pronounce the Rams guy, Nate Shielhase, whatever.
He's an interesting guy too. I just don't know that they want to go in that type of direction, but
Right.
he would be a very interesting hire.
Yeah, I think, and I know, I'm pretty sure Brad had said it previously, but um, yeah, just trying to get an adult in the room, I think
Right.
is at least from a fan's perspective. I think hey, you can at least say, all right, looking back at those who have worked. All right, well, both of them are head coaches now. One previously had a lot of experience. That's now the New Orleans head coach. But yeah, and then the times that it didn't work were guys that unfortunately didn't go on to do things. So I think bringing in somebody here who has the experience in calling plays could bring a little bit of excitement back to this offense. And yeah, I think what might be holding them back is the handcuffs that this offensive coordinator might have to deal with in trying to run his own offense, which, let's be honest, may or may not officially kind of happen. It may just be, hey, here's all the puzzle pieces, you put them together, kind of thing.
I just was told that Mike McDaniel's wife is from that area in California. So happy wife, happy life.
Yeah. Well, I think he's a California kid too. I think from San Fran area, from what I.
Anybody who's been to that new stadium, he's going to love that. But
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sure.
apparently he wanted to stay in the fast lane there, Miami to LA. Then
Yeah, right. Brad, the Eagles are going to hire a Kevin Patullo with a fake mustache named Kevin Catullo.
yeah, they don't even have to rehire him. He hadn't gone anywhere. He's still there. Promote him back.
Brandon, Mike Kafka meets the Rooney Rule? Question mark.
Yeah, I believe he's of Puerto Rican descent. Yeah, I'm almost 100% sure he
I
was one of
I
their 2 Rooney Rule,
Yeah, I agree. I think I've heard that too. So, all right. Well, there you have it, folks. We went through all of the Eagles free agents. Hopefully, we'll maybe Howie will work some magic and try to get some of these guys re-signed. Other than that, it's not like they have a ton of money to work with. So, but it's Howie. I don't think I've ever worried about them having the money to sign who they need. But and
and
there
that
you're.
goes for coordinators too.
Yeah,
They can pay head coach money if they wanna if they're competing, because to be fair, all of these head coach job openings really muddied the waters a little bit, like for their OC search. And I
there were a lot.
respect what Mike McDaniel's doing, because he could have got a HC job, but he's just
Yeah,
going to keep building his brand over there with, the Chargers offense. And if I was in the AFC West, I wouldn't like that hire a bit, because he's pretty dynamic guy
yeah.
offensively.
Well, and he even said, I'd rather take a good OC job than kind of just a head coach job just to take a head coach job.
Yeah,
And so,
if
that'd
we're
be
going to
right for him.
mention one thing before we go, it's one problem and indictment I've had with Sirianni is twice he couldn't convince an OC to stay with them. And one of them, Shane Steichen, was like, his best friend or one of his better friends on the staff. And like Kellen Moore just jumped at the opportunity to be, a HC in New Orleans. Had he had stayed with the Eagles another year, just playing the thing out with the continuity, they even come close to winning a Super Bowl again. He has the pick of the litter of HC jobs again.
Yeah,
And I do think that's a slight indictment on Sirianni. Everybody says, he's the CEO, coach, etc. But it is a little curious how, you know, you hear a guy like McDaniel say, "Yeah, I'm willing to take an OC job," and then you have these other people who think, I'm jumping ship immediately. It's a
no.
little strange.
I mean, you're looking at it, with 2020 hindsight. Yeah, they could have ran it back, won 2 Super Bowls. Because I think if the offense was just as electric as it was, nobody was stopping them.
He'd be the
The
Bills head coach right now if he
Yeah,
wanted.
absolutely. He'd be the Bills, the Ravens, whoever had the Steelers, whatever the heck he wanted. He could
Right.
have had it. And now he's stuck in New Orleans
Big
with
Easy.
with no quarterback, with no
100
running
million
back.
in debt.
Yeah, exactly. No money. But yeah, but you're right. That's certainly something to ponder but again, who could have predicted this many openings, the star power of the openings?
Forward thinking people who are in the industry who should have
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean,
foreseen.
listen,
I
his
mean,
agents,
there's so many job openings every year, but this is a little much. But
this was, yeah.
honestly, if you believe in yourself like that, you probably could have,
Yeah,
just
that's
seemed a
true.
little desperate, but whatever.
Marina
Colt's job,
says,
I
having
understood. Kellen, not so much.
to take back my comment about Dean, Covey looks up to Dean. There you go. He sure
Yeah,
does.
he does. Yeah.
Not a free agent, but Jake Elliott has to go. Well, yeah, we're certainly eventually going to talk about the entire roster here. The goal here is, I think, the first week of February to start kind of turning it over to draft content. So we'll probably have another show next week, just kind of talking about off season stuff and whatnot. Before we dive headfirst into draft content, for those
He's
of
right
you who,
about Elliott, though.
yeah, 100%.
I mean,
Something ain't
yeah.
right. Something ain't right.
When you look around the league, and you don't even have to look far, look in our own division with Dallas, and this guy is booting them 68 yards, and
Like
we're
nothing.
worried for extra points. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
and believe me, the luring the Eagles brass don't like that either. Kicking has become a weapon, and Elliott just isn't able to accommodate them in the same way the other guys around the league have.
Yeah. No, agreed. So, but yeah, we'll talk about that and more next week. Hopefully, who knows? Maybe we'll have an OC by then. Before we get into draft content, if you weren't with us the last couple of years, here's what you can expect: just wall to wall draft coverage. We do rankings, positional rankings. We do mock drafts. We do individual player profiles, and all types of wonderful stuff. We also have a guide that comes out every year where you can see all of the Eagles pin pull members' rankings. We'll do mock drafts together and stuff like that, and we'll keep track of all of that as we go. So please buckle up and enjoy the ride for draft 2026. So that's it. Going to be it for us tonight. Appreciate everybody for watching, listening, commenting. And if you're listening after the fact on podcasts, we appreciate that as well. Give it a like, give it a follow, give it a share, give it a rating, and basically any of the buttons will do. We do appreciate that, and we will be back next week. So yeah, David, you got anything to add? Anything you produced or written or whatever? Share, tell the people what you got going on.
Yeah, you can find everything on my X handle or at Philly Sports Network. I did a mock draft yesterday. Go critique it.
Very good.
And
Very good. Certainly better
spoiler
than
alert,
Kelsey's.
spoiler alert, tomorrow I'm coming out with my Eagle Stay or Go 20-piece. So if you want a written version of everything we just discussed, go get it. That way you can have your receipts.
Woo, woo.
But thanks as always for coming. Join us next week. Join us for the content. Stay for my Sam Howell jersey I'll be sporting throughout the episode. But anyway, give everybody here a follow, especially at the Eagles Pinpool Network. And thanks so much for all of the engagement during the show. We appreciate all the comments.
Always.
Even
Always
the negative ones.
even the negative ones. Even that time where a Cowboys fan jumped in here and
And
was
I'm
hurt.
6 foot tall for the record.
Well, there you go.
And Ryan's much taller than me, I've realized this weekend.
Yes, I am. I'm 6'3", so I can definitely talk down to Dean, but I never would. I never would talk back down to you, Nakobe. But anyway, that's it for us. You can follow me right here on the X. I don't do much, but sometimes I yell at people and make fun of people and
Don't
tell
sell
them what they're
yourself
doing
short.
wrong. Yeah. I do other things. But also tomorrow at about 5:00, the next episode of Football Smack Talk Show is coming to you. We'll discuss some of the off season. We'll probably go off on a tangent on something, and maybe we'll try to get back to what we were talking about. But that's the show. So I'll see you guys there. And don't forget all of the other shows throughout the week. We're going to be, like I said, ramping up for draft coverage come February. So stay tuned for that. And we will see you guys next time on Birds of the Round Table. Everybody have a great night and go Birds.